let's give my round two predictions. So right now you have Denver going up against Phoenix. I think that this matchup is so evenly. This matchup is really hard. It's really hard because to me you have the MVP in Jokic. In Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Morris, they've had this team. This team has been incredible since Jamal Murray's been out, and I thought that Jamal Murray being out would be a death sentence for Denver, and that's one of the big reasons why I thought that Denver was going to lose against Portland because the guard position they just didn't have enough. But the thing is, as we saw, DeAndre Ayton struggled against Anthony outside of one game. He struggled against when Anthony Davis was healthy and on the floor. DeAndre Ayton was and you're dealing with another monster against Nikola Jokic, who's going to be the MVP. But then on Denver's, I mean on Phoenix's side, you have Devin Booker who went crazy the last game against LA. You have CP3 now. Of course, we need to see what happens with his shoulder and his health. But to me, this is a pick 'em. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I'm gonna go with Phoenix because you pretty much. I think that this is when you're going to start to see Jamal Murray's absence. I think this is when you're going to start to see it because while CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard weren't able to take, well, Damian Lillard definitely did, but while CJ McCollum wasn't able to take advantage of not having Jamal Murray, I think CP3, Devin Booker, I think Jay Crowder you can throw that in there. I think they'll be able to take advantage of that. So I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I'm gonna wait for Utah to see who wins between Utah and the Clippers. Between Dallas and the Clippers. But honestly, actually, I'm gonna wait for that. Let's go Philly and Atlanta. I think to me, I think a lot of it is determined on Joel Embiid's health. I think if Joel Embiid be out there, it can be. I think they'll win. I think they'll win pretty easily. I mean, Joel Embiid is the MVP finalist. You have Ben Simmons. What? Okay, so the difference between Philly and New York is scoring. New York is a huge team. Philly is a huge team. Philly has a Seth Curry. They have a Joel Embiid. They have Tobias Harris. They have players that can put the ball on the ground and score. Well, outside of Joel Embiid, you kind of have to give him the ball, but he's an MVP candidate. So I think that Trae Young is going to be huge in this, or is going to have to be huge, and Clint Capella is going to have to be huge. But that's going to and Bogdanovich is going to have to be huge, but it's going to be hard, especially now. I will say this: it could be a competitive series if Joel Embiid doesn't play. I think that if he doesn't play, Tobias Harris is going to need to be as big, and Seth Curry is going to need to be as big as they were against Washington the last few games. But I'm going to pick Philly. I think Philly, it's a huge team. I think Doc Rivers has them firing on all cylinders. It just depends on Joel Embiid's health. And even if he's not there, I think it goes from a 5 or 6 game series to a 7 game series. And even in a 7 game series, I'm going to choose Ben Simmons and Seth Curry and Tobias Harris. I'm going to choose that over Trae Young, especially experience-wise. So I got Philly in that round. And the biggest round, the round that we are most anticipating the matchup that we're most anticipating is the Bucks in Brooklyn. I mean, you have Giannis, you have Drew Holiday, you have Brooke Lopez, you have PJ Tucker going against KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Blake Griffin. this is going to be the series. Now, the series is going to come to me, the most important person in this series is going to be Drew Holiday. Can Drew Holiday slow down Kyrie Irving? I think that Giannis is going to be able to I think Giannis and KD is going to neutralize each other. And when I say that, I don't think that KD is going to be able to stop Giannis, but I also don't think, even though Giannis is an incredible, reigning defensive player of the year, I don't think that Giannis is going to be able to stop KD. I mean, as we saw in the regular season, they both have 40 plus against each other. And I think that PJ Tucker is going to be the Bucks hope they'll be able to slow down James Harden. But you throw body, of course, Brent Forbes, you can throw at Kyrie. I just think that Drew Holiday is going to be the piece. And I think it's to me, it's defense against offense, man. I'm going to go with Brooklyn. I'm going to go with Brooklyn because it's hard for me to see. I mean, you have three players that can go hyperbolic and go for 50 any given night. And that's going to be hard for the Bucks to stop. Now, I understand that Brooklyn is going to be tough stopping the Bucks, but the Bucks they did not play with all three, as in Kyrie, KD, and James. They haven't played with all three of them on the floor. So I think that's a new dynamic, and I think that's going to be a good matchup. I think that's going to go 6 or 7 games, honestly. Because I think both these teams are so evenly matched, as far as one is incredibly potent offensively, and another one is incredibly potent defensively. So I think that's going to be a fun matchup, man. That's going to be a fun matchup. I'm going to go Brooklyn in 7. So those are my second round predictions. Of course, I'm going to wait for Utah to see if they're going to play the Clippers or Dallas.